Hi, this is Christina from Brush and Bristle Studio. Hope you guys are doing okay today. Today I'm going to go over how to use the Kids Sippy Tumbler Mockup. This is going to be made for Photoshop or Photopea, so you're going to want to use one of those two programs. And I'm going to have this tutorial split up into two parts. We're going to have the first part is going to go over Photoshop, and the second part is going to go over how to use Photopea. Now, even if you're going to use Photopea, you're going to want to watch this first part of the tutorial because the two programs are very similar to each other. So when I go into the Photopea portion of the tutorial, I'm only going to go over the slight changes. I'm not going to go over all the other steps that I will go in the Photoshop part. So to get started, open up your Mockup in one of those programs. And when you get into the Mockup, you want to look for your smart objects. And smart objects are going to be these red tabbed layers. And you'll see this little thumbnail has a little like paper and a little rectangle on it. This is going to be your smart object. Now, to open up your smart objects, you're going to double click on this thumbnail. And as you see, it's going to open up a new document tab. Now, you're going to want to open up the design that you want to get mocked up. And to do that, you're going to go to File, Open. And now we want to copy this and paste it into that document. And to do that, you can press Control A, or you can get this marquee tool right here. And then you drag and drop to cover the whole document. And to make you'll know that you've got it all selected if you have the little marching ants all around the border of the design. So once you see that, you can press Control C, or you can go up here to Edit and press Copy. Now you can close out, and now that you're back in your Smart Object document, you can press Control V or go to Edit and Paste. Now you should probably notice that the design is not the right size. So we want to resize this. And to do that, you're going to want to press Control T or go up here to Edit and Free Transform. Now you're going to see these little anchor points all around your document. Now I like to move mine up to this top corner, and to make things easy, make sure your snap is on. And to do that, you go to View, and down here towards the bottom, you'll see snap. And if it's got a check mark, that means it'll work right. So snap, it makes sure that when you move things, it'll snap to the side instead of having to go over and try and get it just right. Just makes it work a little nicer for you. Now, let's see. If you look up here towards the top, this has some of your basic information for the design that you're trying to transform. So if you see this link right here, this is showing that your width and your height are linked. So when you try to change the size, it's going to proportionally make those changes. But with how the canvas is sized, we don't want that. So you can uncheck it right there, and that will allow you to just do one side at a time. Now, a little tip for you is I leave that checked on so things stay linked, but I'll hold Shift as I'm clicking and moving things, and that will temporarily unlink things. So I'm going to grab this corner anchor point, and I'm going to hold down Shift, then I'm going to drag it where it needs to go. And then I just let go of the Shift. And you can press Enter to accept the changes, or you can come up here to this check mark and that'll accept the changes. Now we want to save this to update the smart objects. So you can press Control S, or you can go up here to File and press Save. Now you can close out of this, and now you see it's on all three. I don't get a request very often, but if you would like for these to be set up where you change one at a time, contact me and let me know, and I can make these where you can change them individually. But I know for myself, I prefer having the one-click change because it just speeds up the mock-up process. So So let's go over some other little things that you can change in here. I try to give you guys a lot of flexibility, so let me go over some of those things that I give y'all. One of the main things that I would point out would be I let you guys change the color of the lids and the bottoms. So first you're going to make sure that this layer right here, the visibility is turned on. And this little color palette right here, if you double click on this, it's going to open up your hue saturation panel. And as you saw, it's already changed it to green. How this works is you just drag and drop these 3 sliders to get the kind of color that you want. So let's say we want this to be closer to that hot pink color. And we're going to need to take our saturation up. And maybe we want to make it a little bit lighter. But yeah, I think that's kind of cute. So you can make the lids match the design, or you can make it match the tumblers you've got in stock, whatever you want to make it look good. I prefer making it match my designs. And then to turn that back off, you just take the visibility away. So some other things you can do, let's see. You've got Tumbler highlights and shadows right here. I try not to make my shadows and highlights too intense. I do have them split up by Tumbler, so you've got your left, your middle, and your right. We'll take a look at the left one for this example. And as you see, you've got a glossy coat, your highlights, and your shading. On all 3 of these, you're going to want to look up here, and these will let you tweak them. I would not mess with your blending modes up here. This is your blending mode, and depending on the blending mode, it can actually really change the design in very weird ways. So I would not recommend that. But you can go over here to opacity and fill, and that'll change either making it darker or lighter, whatever you need it to be. So for this example, I'll go ahead and crank this up to 100 just so you can see it. Remember, we're going to look at this tumbler. You see it went up like that. Now, let's say we take it down to 25, and it went much lighter. But we had it at 75. Now, another way that you can mess with these is I've got this grouped folder up here, extra highlights and shadows. If you turn the visibility on, make sure you pay attention to everything on here, but when you turn it on, you see the background got darker, the shadows and everything got more intense on the tumblers. It's just a way to try and help make things pop a little bit more. But these are made with some adjustment layers, and they affect absolutely everything in the mock-up. So keep that in mind if you do edit these. And to edit them, you're just going to double click on them just like you would with the color palette down here. And you just drag and drop just like before. But as you see, it does affect absolutely everything in the mock-up. So be very careful when you mess with it. Now, you've also got your bottom shadows, and these again are separated by Tumbler. These 3 will control this very bottom shadow underneath the tumblers, and then these 3 control the little shadows behind the tumblers. And again, you can come up here to your blending settings. Don't mess with the blending modes, but you can mess with the opacity and the fill. And then you've got your backgrounds right here. And I offer you a wide variety of backgrounds to go with any kind of design that you're working on. And I've also given you this color changing one. So it's mainly going to stay off, but if you want to use it, you can turn the visibility on, double click that panel, and just drag and drop wherever you need it. Now, one thing I will go over with these color palettes is if for some reason you have this visibility turned on, but the color changes aren't showing, check right here for this colorize box, because sometimes that'll get unchecked and then you won't see the colors and you're like, well, why isn't the color showing up? I've got the visibility on. It's usually just this one little box right here. I know that was something that took me a while to figure out when I was first learning how to use Photoshop. So, but I think that's everything to show you with this in Photoshop. If you stick around, if you're interested in Photopea, I'll go over how to use it with those couple little changes in just a moment. If you're not going to use Photopea, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and I hope it helps you and you enjoy using this. But see y'all soon. Okay guys, welcome back. So this part of the tutorial, I'm going to go over how to use this in Photopea. Now, Photopea is a free web browser-based software that you can use. It's very similar to Photoshop, but you can use it on any device that has a web browser. It's also 100% free. You do not have to have an account. You just go in and use it, and you get there by going to photopea.com. So once you're here, you just go to Open from Computer and open up your file. As you see, we've got it right here. Now, as I said in the first part of this tutorial, everything is really the same. There's just a couple little differences with how we're going to handle the smart objects. Everything else that I went over in the first part is going to be done the exact same way. So again, we're going to want to find those red tabbed layers. And as you see, the thumbnail part looks a little bit different, but it does have this like little square on it to help say, hey, I'm a smart object. So let's double click, and as you see, it's opening up. Now in Photoshop, you go to File and Open, and you can still do that here, but you can save some steps and time by going to Open and Place. And if you didn't notice, Open and Place went ahead and copied and pasted and set the design to free transform. It also kind of resizes it for you to fit it within the canvas. So again, I'm going to move it up to that corner, and the same tricks work in here as in Photoshop. So I'm going to hold Shift down while I grab this and drag it down. And again, you can press Enter, or you can hit this check mark up here, and that'll save the changes that you made. Now we need to update the smart object, and to do that, you can press Control S like we would in Photoshop, or you can come up here to File and then hit Save Smart Object. Smart object updated. So now if you go back over here, you see that it's updated on here just fine. So that's really the only big difference between the two programs as far as making the mockup goes. But if you guys have any questions at all about anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. But I hope you guys enjoy this mockup and that you found this tutorial helpful. Hope you'll have a great day.